And there's a nice pitch and catch to Tristan Wilson. He'll get in for the Cougar touchdown. Plunging into the end zone is Sam McCoy for a Sullivan East touchdown.
Hello and welcome to this, what proves to be final 2016 edition of the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show here on BTES. Where does the time go? We're already at the end of the regular season. My name is Kyle Cooper. Thanks for joining us one more time this season. Coming up on the show this week, we'll get you ready for our Friday broadcast of Sullivan East at Sullivan Central. So we'll have both head coaches on board this week, Sullivan East's Mike Locke and Chris Steger from Central. They'll be our special guests. Also, we'll get player profiles and much more. But as we always do here on the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show, we start out this week with a look back at the broadcast we had last week. And it was a cold and rainy Friday in Bluff City, but there was a rainbow and a pot of gold at the end of it. The winner of Friday's matchup between Sullivan East and Cherokee would secure home field in the first round of the TSSAA playoffs. It was senior night, and Sullivan East began the game exactly how it wanted, by marching the ball downfield. Fueled by this nifty 25-yard run by A.C. McCoy, the Patriots' opening drive went 60 yards on 7 plays, 6 of them on the ground. The drive ended with a 5-yard run by Sam McCoy for a 6-0 lead. That score would hold until the 8:24 mark of the second quarter, when Cherokee tied it on Jeremiah Bragg's 3-yard run. But East moved back ahead 5 minutes later on Hunter Parker's first career touchdown, a 2-yard plunge. Then the Patriots took advantage of a special teams mistake. Cherokee's Houston Hamilton fumbled away the ensuing kickoff, and East took possession inside Chiefs territory. And on the next play, Aaron Fry went up top and connected with Gunnar Griffith for a breathtaking 27-yard catch. It's one of the best catches you'll see all year. That set up McCoy for his second touchdown of the night, a 4-yarder that gave the Patriots an 18-6 lead at halftime. Sullivan East seemingly put the game away right before halftime, though. Jay Crumley intercepted this pass from Trey Courtney and returned it 83 yards for an apparent touchdown. But you notice I've said apparent. The run back was nullified by a penalty. How much did East keep emphasizing the running game? So much so that they didn't attempt a single pass after halftime, and they didn't need to. Working behind a dominant offensive line, Crumley tallied 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, this 3-yard run with 5:54 left, and then this 5-yarder with 1:19 to go that put the Patriots ahead 30-6 and put the contest out of reach. For Cherokee, a rough night got rougher. For Jeremiah Bragg, he'd been kept in check in the second half. He finally broke loose for this 30-yard run late in the third quarter, only to suffer what appeared to be a significant injury to his left leg. It took nearly a half hour for the Chiefs' athletic training staff and EMT personnel to get Bragg stabilized and on the way to the hospital. Courtney would end that Cherokee drive with a 4-yard run, his first varsity rushing touchdown, but the night belonged to Sullivan East. The Patriots' 30-12 win was their 5th in a row and secured East's first home playoff game since 2004. Sullivan East closes out the regular season with a visit to Sullivan Central, which you'll see right here on Gridiron Game Day this Friday night. And we'll have more on this week's Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show after this timeout on BTES Power 7.
Take the protector, okay? One of you is blocker, one of you is scoop and score, okay? You get picked up, he may get...
We're back on this final edition of the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show, and one of our guests this week, so our special guest, is Sullivan East head coach Mike Locke. And Mike, congratulations on the win on Friday, and the big win. And let's start Friday at the end of it, which is Sullivan East has its first home playoff game in 12 years. What does that mean to the program?
Well, a milestone for us, to get back to the playoffs again. This will be our third consecutive season in the playoffs. We're very proud of that. 4 out of the last 6 years we've made the playoffs, but this is special because we get to host and have a game at home. Just to bring the community together behind the team, to not have to travel to go through that. But I just feel like hopefully it'll bring our school and community together, and it's certainly something that our seniors had stressed as a goal at the beginning of the year, and to see that goal achieved hey, I'm proud of them.
And we've talked a lot about the senior class, about how long they've played together and the losing season they had when they were freshmen. And now here they are. And the last time Sullivanese hosted a playoff game, these seniors were little kids. That says a lot about what they've accomplished. What more can you, they were toddlers. What more can you tell us about this group?
Well, just, what we've said in the past, that it's a great group of young men. They've committed themselves to the program, to what it took to get better, not just during the season, but in the off season. And I'm proud that we have a chance tonight. We have a chance to complete the season, to go 9-1, which would totally flip the script on being 1-9 when those guys started. So all things we have to take care of business, but we hope that we can write that chapter tonight.
Let's get back to Friday a little bit more.
Okay.
It's fair to say, especially on offense, you did pretty much what you set out to do. I mean, you ran 59 snaps, 47 of those were rushes on a night where you had to be able to run the football.
Right.
370 yards of rushing. I think there's one negative yardage play the whole game. I'd have to double check that.
Right.
But you established the ground game really early and kept pounding it out. I mean, that's just like you drew it up, right?
I think. Well, I mean, that was, Cherokee was built for speed and that up tempo, quick style. And of course, a night where it's rainy and windy, field conditions are a little rough. It's going to be a little tougher on them. And we wanted to control that clock too. The fewer possessions they get, the fewer chances they have. So I thought that establishing that running game and the way our offensive line did, came off the ball, the way the backs ran hard, found the seams, trusted their blocks. It was just a great effort. And then, from a defensive standpoint, I was very proud of J.C. Simmons, our defensive coordinator, who came up with a great game plan, and our guys who executed. And we got some critical turnovers when Cherokee was down deep. Some interceptions and fumble recoveries that were really the difference in the ball game.
We're talking with Mike Locke here, Sullivanese head coach on Gridiron Game Day, the Coaches Show edition. Aaron Fry looks a lot more confident, more comfortable throwing the football now than he did in the first part of the year. Mm-hmm. The signature play, you had a chance after the turnover. Cherokee lost that kickoff fumble and got the ball near midfield, went up top to Gunnar Griffith, made one of the best catches we'll ever see.
Yeah,
tell us about what sort of reaction, what sort of electricity that sent through the sidelines, because there wasn't a lot of time left in the half when you got that ball, but that connection from Fry to Griffith makes the great catch. All of a sudden, you're inside the 10 with a lot of time to work.
Mm-hmm. Well, you had a turnover, so the playbook is go up top, take a shot. You've got them in transition, and we'd noticed if you'd noticed their corners really. Cherokee had some really good corners, very aggressive corners that came up on our short passing game stuff. So we just called a little hitch and go, show the hitch and then take on off. And they bit, and then Fry laid it out there, but it was overthrown, and Gunnar just laid out. And to be fully extended, I mean, he was fully parallel to the ground when he made that catch and pulled it in. Puts us down on about the 4 with a little over a minute to go.
And then all of a sudden you had plenty of time.
Now we go up. I guess it was almost 2 minutes, but now we can dictate. And we get that one in, and now we've separated a little bit, and now it's a 2 possession game rather than the 1 possession. And so maybe it makes Cherokee press a little bit more than they might have.
Sullivan Central's the opponent this week. It's their senior night. You're going to be the favorite going in over to Blountville. What's your best case scenario for how you'd like to see things play out on Friday night?
Well, we want to come out and establish a running game. Play great defense. As we've said in the past, this is the next obstacle in front of us. It's the next season. It's a 1-week season. Central is an opponent we will prepare for. They do some different things on defense that we have not seen this year. They run a 3-3 stack a lot of times, and they're aggressive in terms of a lot of stunt packages that come at you. So we've got to be prepared for that. So we'll take our approach offensively the same way we always do, and we need to come out and establish ourselves early. I think in a rivalry game like this, the longer a team is in the game, the tougher it's going to get. So hopefully we can do good things early.
And we know that you're 8-1, they're 0-9. The kids know that too. You've been selling them on the concept of this 1 week season. How do you have to do a little extra selling this week to get them ready to not overlook Sullivan Central, especially knowing what happened on Friday and what you have coming up the week after that?
I hope I don't. We look at the approach of they're 0-0, we're 0-0. We've got to win. This is the game in front of us. Why is this an important game? Because it's the one that we're playing. If we don't do a good job of that as a coach and staff, that's on me. Keeping the focus, keeping them prepared for that game. Because look, we talk about getting return on investment. These games are so you only get 10 of them. Don't overlook the one that's hitting you right in the face. So let's hopefully we'll prepare like we should.
We'll take a break right here. When we come back, Mike Locke stays with us. We'll talk about Sullivan East's featured player of the week. That's up after this when the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show continues on BTES Power 7. The Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show continues with Sullivan East head coach Mike Locke and the Patriots feature player of the week this week, and Jake Crumley, and I've called him the human wrecking ball. And he's one of my favorite players to watch. A high energy guy and a high emotion guy. Sometimes he gets a little bit out on the edge, but you and I were just talking about this. He's a guy you want to be in a foxhole with you. He's that kind of player, and he certainly loves to play the game of football.
You're going to get 100% out of Jake when he gets on the field, and especially when you put that ball in his hands. He wants to score. He runs hard, and I can remember, Jake as a freshman. Jake was a lineman for us. He started out as a lineman, and then his freshman year, his wrestling season, he really cut weight. And that was good for him. He lost a lot of that baby fat, if you will. Really. Began to take interest in the weight room more, and he was already a fast kid, but he just got faster and developed. And then we knew we had something special that sophomore year. He made some incredibly big hits from his linebacker positions. We didn't use him very much in the backfield. He played defense mainly. But then, of course, through the course of that year, and then last year we used him some, and then this year he's become a mainstay for us and ran the ball extremely well the other night, 179 yards rushing. Some really punishing runs on a wet night. That we needed to establish that running game, and Jake did it. So, and he plays both ways for us. Early in the year, he was also kicking off for us and did a nice job with that. But he's had some problems with his leg, and we don't want to hamper, give that any reason to flare back up again. So he's just done a lot of things for us, and we're just excited to have him, and we've got a few more games with him.
Jake Crumley, number 44, senior running back. I guess it comes from the heart. You gotta just be the hammer, not the nail. You gotta play hard. And when everybody else is pumped up, that just makes me more pumped up. So that's always good. Whichever one I play, I make sure I hit somebody. A few times I got kicked out of one game, getting too wound up, but it's all right. Coach Locke, he plays week to week. Every week is a new season for us, 0-0 on that scoreboard.
That's a look at Jake Crumley, the feature player of the week this week for Sullivan East. His team getting ready to take on Sullivan Central. And Patriots head coach Mike Locke, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate all your time this season. Good luck this week, and best of luck in the playoffs. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I want to thank BTES for covering our games and supporting us.
Mike Locke, our guest here on Gridiron Game Day, and the Coaches Show continues after this break on BTES Power 7. We return to the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show. Our guest is Sullivan Central's head coach, Chris Steger. And Chris, the last time we crossed paths a couple weeks ago in that game against Volunteer, and your starting quarterback, Drew Robinette, had to leave the game pretty early with an injury. As we are now, and we're recording this on Monday to take everyone behind the fourth wall. What exactly was his injury, and what's his status for this week?
Well, I can't say a whole lot about the injury. It's obviously anytime you're missing time, it's always going to be a pretty significant thing. But he's he's done some things, to get it better, and done what the doctors and the trainer have asked him to do, and he's trying to rehab that. And we're going to see where he stands this week, and hopefully he'll get to play his senior night and enjoy that opportunity.
It could be a kickoff decision for Drew Robinette.
Yes.
Coming off the game against Greenville, what were the things you emphasized in practice in the run-up to that game? Because what the expectations were from the outside. What did you want to get across to your kids getting ready to take on the best program in this region?
Well, the number 2 team in the state of Tennessee in 4A, you can't say enough about, how well they play and how well coached they are. I mean, I when I look at them, first thing that jumps off paper, their defensive line, it looks like a 6A line, and how impressed I was with them. Really what we kind of preach with our kids, one was opportunity. Hey, you get to go down to Greenville, great facility, great tradition. Go down there and enjoy getting to play a team in an environment like that. Because that, it's not every day you get to go play on the field turf and get to play the number 2 team in the state and the environment, and it was good for our kids to experience that. And as far as that goes, like I said, we've just been focusing on us. And, I know that's something I harp on, and a lot of people keep hearing it. But, we're going to focus on us, do the things we've got to do to make us better. And, just take it, every day is an opportunity, and hopefully we use it to the best of our ability.
And in light of what happened against Greenville, how did everyone handle that attitude-wise, things like that, coming back home, getting ready for Sullivan East?
Well, I can't say enough about our kids. We talk to them a lot about, keeping your head up and being proud. If you, giving maximum effort. We asked for maximum effort and maximum coachability, and that's what our kids did. Credit to our kids, they did that. And, I was real proud of what our kids brought to the table, regardless of that score. And, the seniors and the leadership they showed that night, it was a very difficult night, but our kids really battled through it, and can't say enough about their dedication to the program and trying to do the right thing.
We're talking with Sullivan Central's head coach, Chris Steger, his team getting ready for Sullivan East this Friday night here at BTES Power 7. Let's go back to that volunteer game last time we saw you guys. There were some bright spots in that game. Tristan Wilson up the middle, he was wreaking havoc. He was making plays right there, talking about plays at the line of scrimmage. He was giving you those.
Oh, he's a kid. He gives maximum effort all the time and works so hard. Tristan, he gives his effort. He wants to be coached, and he wants to get better. And he got in there, and he's a little undersized, but we thought he could get in there and wreak a little havoc and get up the middle, and he did early on. And we were real pleased with that effort he gave us. So that's something hopefully we can kind of build on with him.
After you lost Drew Robinette, you had to put Jacob Fields out there at quarterback. He's a freshman. You had to throw him out there against a good team that was playing a meaningful game for them. He didn't look like a freshman. He looked pretty comfortable in that quarterback role.
Well, that's a credit. First of all, I want to credit Coach Barber, our quarterback's coach. Has done a phenomenal job with him and Jackson Harrison both as far as developing those kids, and getting them ready for that. We take a lot of pride in what we're doing with the JV right now, and, getting those kids reps. And, Coach Barber, he takes a big role on the JV, calling the offense and those things he's doing right now with them. And it really showed, and it carried over to Friday night, that he, the work he's put in with those guys, how they were able to go in. I didn't really have to adjust my play calling. We went in terminology. There weren't any issues there. We just look down at the band, get your play, and roll with it. And that first of all, that says a lot about Coach Barber, but it also says a lot about Jacob Fields. He's done everything we've asked him. We were talking about him the other day. He completed a pass in a varsity game, and he caught a pass in the same varsity game. And, that's a freshman doing that. And, that's we were kind of sitting there, and, and he's the varsity backup long snapper right now. So, he's a kid. He just jumps in, whatever we need him to do, he just comes out and, Coach, I'll give it a go. And he gets in there and gets after it. And, those type of kids you can build a program around. And he's one of the leaders, and we're real excited about where we're at with him.
And Chris, you brought up the name Jackson Harrison. He came in the second half of that game against Volunteer and put up good numbers. I think he threw for better than 100 yards, threw a touchdown pass. He looked really comfortable in there too. And there's a little bit of a story why he didn't come in right away when Drew Robinette got hurt. But when he came in, he looked like maybe your quarterback of the future.
Well, Jackson, we've kind of bounced him around too. He's played a little receiver for us. Obviously he helps us at linebacker and does a lot of different things. And we've kind of groomed him to be that backup quarterback. And to his credit, he's kind of embraced the role, and he's learned the offense. And he's a very smart kid, does well in the classroom, and he's able to, like I said, to make a lot of the reads and, things we're trying to do. We have a lot of pre-snap reads as well as post-snap reads. And, Jackson does a phenomenal job of understanding that and carrying those out. And, like I said, those guys committing to getting better in JV and coming out and getting those reps on Monday nights it's really played into their benefit. And it shows, hey, it sets a good example for the rest of the kids. Hey, if you come out on Monday night, you're coachable, you're going to learn things, you're going to get better, and you're going to be a major player in this program. So those are the things that we're real happy about.
One game left. What are the goals this week?
The main goal for us, and I've told these kids is let's send these seniors out the right way, and continue to give maximum effort and try to improve. Coach Locke and Sullivan East, they've got a phenomenal team right now. I mean, like I said, the playoff picture, I think they secured them a home playoff game. I'm not for sure about that, but we're just going to, like I said, continue to focus on us, and hopefully we can come out and play hard, and that's what we'll ask them to do, and see what happens.
After Friday, it's the off season. What does the off-season schedule look like in terms of when does the spring season roll around? When do players start going to camps, and where? What happens once things come to an end Friday?
Well, first of all, we've got the mandatory 3-week dead period. So, after the season's over, regardless of when you finish, you got 3 weeks that you'll go dead, and so that'll pretty much take us through Thanksgiving. So when we come back at first couple weeks in December, I'll do a couple of, I don't know if the right word's clinics, but I'll do a couple of weightlifting sessions where I'm just going to, Justin and a couple of the coaches are going to focus on form and, trying to, reteach the lifts. We've done some maintenance lifting, but obviously it's always good anytime you can take some time to do some reteaching and get those guys dialed back in on good form, especially when you're doing those Olympic-style lifts, the hang cling and the squat, those types of things where form, is at a premium, to keep from injuring yourself and things. So we'll spend some time on that, and really we'll hit the ground in January, with our weight program and, try to get some of these kids bigger and stronger. And, obviously then we'll look at the calendar and, see when it's most optimal for us to have, spring practice. We'll try to do that, as late as possible so we can get some of the baseball. And we've got some baseball kids, we've got some soccer kids, and, hopefully we're going to have a few more track kids. So, we're going to be optimized around those schedules. And
Chris Steger with us. We'll have more of our conversation with Sullivan Central's head coach after this timeout on the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show on BTES Power 7.
Good. Something right to it.
Back in the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show, our guest this week, or one of our guests this week, is Sullivan Central's head coach Chris Steger. Time for the feature player of the week for the Cougars, and this week it's Jackson Harrison. We've talked about him coming in relief at quarterback and looking good in the game against Volunteer. He's one of those guys, you like what he's done so far, and you like the future you have with him.
Well, we're real excited about what Jackson brings to the table. He's a kid that, very, very smart, makes great grades in the classroom, and that really carries over the football field because he's a real student of the game, and has really picked up on things we're trying to do offensively. Can make a lot of pre and post snap reads, and with the way defenses are attacking now and trying to give you a lot of different looks, he's a kid who can handle that, and he makes a lot of good decisions with football. And when he comes off the field, he can always tell you what he was doing, and it helps with play calling because he understands, he's an extension of you as a coach out there, and it's really helped us, make some, when we make some play calls, we can feel comfortable that he's going to get us in the right play. So that's real important, and we're real excited. Like I said, he also he's played a ton of defense for us this year, and he's also helped us out at receiver, which I think has helped his growth as a quarterback as well, because he's had, understand the routes, understand the timing, and that really has helped develop him as a whole. So we're real excited about the future with him and what he's going to, bring to the table for us going forward.
I'm Jackson Harrison. I'm number 10. I'm the sophomore quarterback. It was pretty nerve-wracking to me. I mean, I've practiced a lot of other positions, wide receiver, defense, and then I got thrown in at quarterback. And I was ready for it, but I didn't think it was going to happen, and it was just very nerve-wracking. I think it is very important because if you have no idea what's going on, it's kind of hard to adjust to certain positions on the field. I'm very interested in how the body works. I think it'd be very cool to be a physical therapist or a doctor of some sort.
Jackson Harrison, our Sullivan Central player profile this week. And Chris, that's it for the season. Thanks so much. We really appreciate your time coming out. Best of luck this week, and best of luck getting this program turned around. Hope you have a good off season. We'll see you next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for doing this. It's been a real pleasure, and I know our kids have enjoyed it and what you're doing for the community. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to it again next year.
Chris Steger, our guest here on the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show, one of our 2 featured guests this week, and we'll have more of the program right up to this time out on BTES Power 7. And that's a wrap for this final edition of the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show here on BTES Power 7. Again, it's hard to believe that the time has flown by so fast. It seems just like yesterday was the middle of August, and we were sitting down to get ready for the 2016 season, and now it's come and gone. So time to say our thanks to all the coaches who put the coach in the Coaches Show. Tennessee High's Mike Mays, Sullivan Central's Chris Steger, and Sullivan East Mike Locke. We really appreciate them taking time out of their schedules to come by and talk with us. Thanks as well to Nathan Griotti. He's been the color analyst during game broadcasts this year. He pinch hit for me in the second Coaches Show of the year. And again, congratulations to Nathan and Sydney, and I hope their honeymoon's going very well. And best wishes for a long and happy life together. Thanks to the crew here at BTES Power 7 for doing yeoman work. Amazing what they've done. We couldn't get the show on the air without them. And thanks to you for watching, because if you don't watch, we don't have a show. So we thank you for watching us. And I hope you've enjoyed what we've done for you this time around here in 2016. And on behalf of everybody for the Gridiron Game Day Coaches Show, my name is Kyle Cooper. Thanks again, and we'll see you next year.